Hey guys, it's Mac from Simple Theory Gear. Moving along with our series just about the FAQs, how-tos of the pack stove. Our last series was all about biofuel, using sticks, tinder, all that good stuff. So we want to move into alcohol, which is another very useful and highly used, I'm going to use the word commodity, or fuel source, and to kind of get the semantics out the way from the beginning. This is an alcohol burner, or spirit burner, sometimes really just referred to as a Trangia stove, which is a kind of like Kleenex or Band-Aid. Trangia is a brand name, yet people call them, the alcohol stoves, Trangia burners. So this is the actual burner, and then we're going to use the pack stove as our stove or as our stand. So just to kind of clarify any of that stuff. Anytime I use the alcohol stove, I like to have a pair of pliers. It's just easier to manipulate things that I have to. The stove's gonna get hot, and I don't want to, if there's still a burn going on in the burner, I don't want to knock that over. Alcohol burns very clear. Actually, it's a really light pale blue, but if the lighting isn't dark enough, you won't really see it, and it can spread, and it can cause a lot of bad things to happen. So we're just gonna make basically a hot chocolate today, to kind of show you the efficacy of the stove. And going right into it, I have a Red Camp stove. I'm not a proponent, or I'm not, sponsoring anybody. The reason I say that is that different spirit burners have different heights. And alcohol stoves, and when I say the stove and the burner combination, I'll use that word interchangeably, not to be confusing. It comes down to head space. So if you are to place, let's say in this setup that I like to use, the stove is on, the burner is on the ground, and unscrew the top here. It has the nice rubber seal, which is good. And when we light it, now that stove is burning, and like I said, you can't really tell. So I'll bring you guys in. You can probably see some of the heat bands. There you go. Now the lighting is dark enough for you to see it, but it can be kind of tricky and also susceptible to wind. So now we look at 1.8 inches to the top of the flutes. Now you want to have about an inch, maybe 1.25 inches, depending on altitude, depending on what you're burning, all that good stuff, to where the bottom of your vessel is, right? We can call that the sweet spot, we can call that heat bands, we can call that whatever you want to. Now with the pack stove, it's roughly all set for you just by doing that. Turn the stove upside down. That inner chamber is just 3 inches. So now we have 1.2 to the top of our burn plate right there, or grill plate. So you're all set up. If you have a shorter burner, all you gotta do is press this into the ground a little bit. And now you can see that flame kind of tickling through the top. And that's all you have to do then, is to take your water bottle or whatever you have. This is a full 40 ounce right on top. This is just the Stanley cook set right on top. And that spacing is all set for you, so you don't have to worry about anything else. Now, again, here are the pliers, so that I can pull this straight up and off without worrying about hitting that. Now, I'm just gonna snuff this out for a quick second. If you have a bigger pot, right, and I have a little, I'm not gonna name the solo stove pot, all right, I think it's their 750. It's a 60 ounce pot, all right? And I want to put that on top. Now, alcohol burners aren't necessarily great for large amounts of water, the BTU output. However, what you're going to do is just, you're going to put this, make sure that's out before I put this in, inside the vessel, and you would light it just as we did the first time. And then you'd put the pot on top. And again, having that same space. If your spacing is off now, because let's say your stove is actually taller, your burner is taller than 1.8, well then you would just put the stove ring right here, the removable grill plate on top, and now you have an extra little bit on top of that. So what we're looking at is really just trying to be as versatile as possible because of the discrepancies in height and discrepancies in gear and what you need. So very stable as you see, very contained as you see. It acts as a natural windbreak. I would always suggest bringing out a windscreen. Unfortunately, I don't have one, so I'm saying that kind of hypocritically. You could, I'm going to try this today. I'm actually going to try to put the whole system inside the pot and see if this would work as a windscreen as I boil just the Stanley Cook set today for the hot chocolate. I'll let you guys know in the comments or in the description below how that goes. But that is the alcohol. Very simple, very easy, very quick. On cold, wet, windy days, I love it. It's easier than trying to find dry tinder. It's more, I'm gonna say reproducible because the alcohol is always the same. The BTU output is always the same. You don't have to worry about the difference between pine and hardwood. You don't have to worry about getting it all set up and then coals and all that stuff. All you have to do is just really take this little snuff top now and snuff that out. Let everything cool down. Again, you can pour water on it, but let it cool down and you're off and going right away. No smoke, no fuss. So it's a great little option with the pack stove. I'll see you guys in the next one. We'll talk about alcohol fuel tabs because this really is the same, very similar setup if you're using sterno. Just kind of put the can in, light it. And that's really more for heating, not boiling or cooking. So to kind of know that, again, with the output of what that sterno can do. Thanks, guys. See you on the next one.